Hello. Welcome back to
Hello.
Radio Hedgehog. Oh yes, hello. Hello, this is Alexia who I'm chatting to today. I I just realized it's Hedgehog Radio, not Radio Hedgehog. Sorry, this is like I'm wasting like a minute every time in the beginning doing this. Just bit. What would you say? Should it be Radio Hedgehog or Hedgehog Radio? You're good at these things.
Radio Hedgehog is the name of a radio station for humans, and Hedgehog Radio is the name of a radio station for hedgehogs. So it depends on who your target audience is.
I feel it is for humans who want to kind of curl up. Like it's like if you feel like a hedgehog and you just want to listen to something. So it's Hedgehog Radio, really, isn't it? Like if you just kind of wanna be like that. Have a cup of tea. Okay, so it's probably Hedgehog Radio. Thank you. That's very good. That's good. Okay, so this is working well. This is your piece of paper. I'm gonna fill this.
Okay.
First of all, I'll draw you as an animal, so you can pick what animal, just so that if I draw you anywhere else, I know how to draw you. What
Can
would
I be like a lizard?
a lizard?
Can I be a lizard?
You can be.
Can I be a lizard?
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's fine.
Don't want fur. Sorry, I've thrown you there. Sorry.
No, you were not at all. I was just actually just running through different lizards in my head and what they generally are like. So I'm just starting with eyes. Would you like to have a little horn? Would you like to have a little horn in your nose, or be like one of these smooth ones? Do you want a frill?
I guess I was thinking along the lines of a gecko, but all those other things are quite interesting to draw. So
No,
I leave it to you. I did just say lizard, and it's quite a large
that's
subset of animals.
that's why I was pausing. So
yeah,
I mean,
I didn't want to get too specific.
It's just it's friendly. Do you what kind of outfit do you want? Like, what's your kind of standard outfit? I mean, you can make one up.
These days, no. I mean, these days I've given up on any pretense of glamour. It will just be baggy and comfortable and loose and, you know.
This
comfy.
is not a bit. This is an arm. So.
I thought it was coming out of an egg.
Oh yes, that would also be good. No.
There you go.
There you go. This is one.
This is going well.
I'm so vague today. It's gonna.
Me too.
I don't actually know. No, they don't have swimmy things, do they? Because they don't swim. They just have long,
I
long
think there are
sticky
some
pads.
lizards. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I don't know. Maybe kind of veered into newt territory here.
We are a little bit. So that's part of the point of doing a first drawing, that I basically get it a bit wrong, so I can like ask you what I can improve to make it better in that way. So how can I make this? How can I make this more you?
Well, you could make it more gecko by making it go sideways, but no, this is good. This is good. I'm liking the jumper. I'd like a jumper like that.
That's good. I can make a pattern or something, or I can make it any color.
Yeah, I like the jumper. That's the sort of jumper I like to have.
Okay,
I'm having a bit of a
good.
jumper crisis at the moment.
Oh, that is.
Yeah.
So I've got to think of a question. I mean, we can talk about the jumper crisis.
What is the?
Or
it's one of my rolling clothing crises where I run out of a garment and then spend 3 years trying to replace it. I have shoe crises.
You gotta get it just right. I think the question I had in mind was just to start off. Can you tell me about an experiment? An experiment you did? Any experiment?
Oh my god! This is like a job interview. It's like a job. Have you ever been in a job interview?
No,
you know when you go to a job interview and what they'll say is, "Tell us about a time when."
Oh no, that's terrible. That's
what job interviews do.
That's not good. I was aiming to not be like that.
Experiment. I don't really do experiments. I only really embark on things I know I'm going to succeed at.
Perfect. Let's talk about that.
Which you're not allowed to say in job interviews. You're not allowed to say in a job interview, for example, no, there wasn't actually a time when I had a crisis of time management, or I like the way you've made the jumper look lizardy. That's lovely. Well done. You've rescued that panel.
I felt I had something to prove after accidentally giving you a job interview. Oh gosh, it's like the
Yeah.
opposite. See, so yeah, I think I'm back.
I have a question for you.
Yes, okay.
What's going on with your left hand?
What, that is covered in ink?
Yes. Ah, that's ink, is it? Okay.
It's ink. I'm
Because you
sorry.
said, no, that's fine. You said something about self-tan earlier, and I was thinking that is not the level of self-tan crisis I was expecting.
Oh no, it's not. It's basically
Ink.
okay, let's be honest. I had a big self tan stain on my hand, and it looked absolutely bad because it's like it's just so. I'm just getting so pale in lockdown, and
Uh,
so I'm just like using self tan, and it basically ran down my hand here. And I just thought I cannot put this under the camera because people will just wonder what this brown stain is. So I thought I just put some ink on it because I will get inky hands anyway. So I just start off with an inky hand, but actually that went absolutely wrong. So just before this, I just kind of washed it a bit to kind of even it out, and now it's just like this. So basically, this is all fake. This is like,
and I've pointed it out. Well,
yes,
it goes with the jumper that the lizard is wearing.
it does, it does. But yes,
Your
this
mottled sort of day.
it's quite motley. Right. So what should we what should we do you have a subject that you'd like?
Oh right, sorry.
Anything that you would like to.
Let's talk about clothes since we embarked on the jumper.
Do you know, I should have just rolled with that in the first place. Yes, let's talk about clothes.
Instead of submitting your job interview.
Yes, I don't like. Yes, it's. You're very right. I really don't like that. Good. Clothes. Let's put you in some clothes. Tell me about some clothes.
So I think I might have come to the end of a recent trainer crisis because I did buy some trainers.
Mm-hmm.
That took 3 years. I've also been. No, I mean I'm having a jumper crisis. The jumper that I wear most of the time at the moment, I actually bought it when I was pregnant. The first time, I mean, with my 6-year-old, so it's stretched out to accommodate that pregnancy, and then it's stretched out again to accommodate another pregnancy later. It is completely shapeless. And most people, I'm sure, have multiple items of clothing in their wardrobes, and I tend to have one of something. I'll go, well, I will need a jumper, so I buy a jumper. That's my jumper. No, I do have like a second jumper, but usually the second jumper will be something a bit rubbish I don't really want to wear. So when my first jumper kind of gets shapeless or a hole in it or whatever, I'll be like, right, I'm moving on to my secondary jumper. That's what's happened. I'm still looking for a new primary jumper. And this is going to take years because I will be like, this one's too expensive. This one's not. I think it's problematic with women's clothes in particular. I've noticed that so many of them are made out of plastic, and you don't want to shed loads of microplastic when you wash them. So then you think, well, I'm going to have to spend more and get something that's real wool. This one's scratchy. And then there's what's clothing size am I? I've gained weight during lockdown. My measurements are all out. I haven't actually been into a shop and tried something on in so long that I don't really quite understand like what's going to fit me if I buy it online. And I don't want to spend like £200 on a handmade jumper because I've convinced myself nothing else is ethical at this point, and then it's not going to fit me. So, and then I realize I don't even have £200 this month. Every month I get towards the end of the month and I'll be like, oh, I'll buy a jumper this month. And no, I've run out of money. I'll have to buy it next month. And that, and so it rolls on indefinitely. The rolling clothing crises.
It is, isn't it? It's like I'm all carried away thinking about my overpriced jumpers that don't fit me. Oh God.
I'm sure most people just bowl into a shop, put something on, go, yes, looks good, and pay for it and walk out. I'm sure that's sort of what happens. But for some reason, when I'm buying clothes, and I'm quite badly dressed, and I'm also dressed in generally in an assemblage of just whatever has sort of fallen on me from a great height. So and yet the amount of thought and effort I put into my clothes is completely disproportionate to the outcome.
I feel I should say I don't feel that's true, but go on.
It's true.
I mean, having seen you, I think you look very glamorous very often.
Thank you. I had this conversation once with a friend who I've known since we were teenagers. We met when I was like 17 and they were 16. And years later, like 20 years later, we were chatting, and they said to me, "Oh, what I really liked about you when we met, I thought you were so cool because you clearly didn't care at all about what you wore." Which, I'm like, well, hang on a second.
Outrage.
Yeah, I thought a lot. I thought as much as any other 17-year-old, but most of the clothes that I had at that time were like hand-me-downs from older brothers, which I continued to wear until I was about 25 before I started supplementing them with things from charity shops. And now I sort of feel like I want to do investment pieces. I want to save up and buy a coat that costs like £100 or a nice jumper. I want to buy a few really good clothes. Isn't that the right way to do it? I'm a grown up. But A, you have to have the money in your hand at the time. So it's a nice thought. Um, and B, it only works if the piece of clothing, once you've bought it, is exactly right. So what's the point of spending ages trying to find exactly the right thing? And then you end up going, this sort of fits, So I don't know where to shop anyway. So there it is.
Right now
I don't like shopping.
I mean, right now it's very odd with all the all the internet shopping. Like when you actually have this added thing where you can't even try things on, and they're always like, "Yeah, but you can send them back." And gee, I mean, do you try that? Have you tried internet
Sometimes
shopping?
I do. I do buy clothes online. I have to. I mean, everybody sort of has to, but I dislike the whole rigmarole of return. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it feels like more effort to go to the post office or wherever, or like a drop-off point or something with the returns. And also, my shape is all over the place at the moment. As I said, I have gained some weight in lockdown, and now I guess it must be the beginning of proper middle age or something. But it all goes on like different places, and so if I measure myself, I appear to be like one size around my hips, a completely different size around my belly. So there isn't. You sit there going, well, which size do I go for? The hip size, or the thigh size, or the shoulder size, and then you don't know until you've got it, and you end up just going, this is too much effort, and yeah, and I don't really. In the end, I sort of think, oh well, I mean, I live in a small town. We have some shops here, but there are not many kind of really good shops here. There's a kind of, I think there's a Primark and a New Look and there's a Debenhams. So there's some stuff here, and some various other shops. And so I could go shopping, but it's not like going shopping on a big busy high street that you'd get closer into London. Your options are just a bit limited. So I sometimes I think, oh, I'll just go into the local town and I'll get a jumper from a local shop. And I'll vaguely start walking into local shops and I'll look at jumpers and I'll be like, oh, this has got plastic in it. Well, how much do I really care about that right now? Well, I kind of do. I do need to be warm. And then I end up going, well, I've literally just run out of energy. I've been doing this for 15 minutes. I've looked at 6 jumpers and I'm knackered. I'm done with this clothes shop and I go home. So I just, yeah, I'd like us all to just have a uniform. I wouldn't actually like us all to just have a uniform, but sometimes it might be simpler.
Yeah, sometimes. What would it be if it were a uniform? What would be a good uniform? I mean, if you could like really
Jumpsuits.
jumpsuits, I agree so much. Wouldn't that be good?
I'm dropping stuff here and making clattering noises.
I do keep trying to get a good jumpsuit. I mean, I got one from my mum that she literally had, like, that's as old as me, a bit older than me. And it's nice, but it's still, she was a different shape. She was a lot more statuesque at the time.
I had some lovely clothes from my mother, and I still have them, and I still wear them. Some of the clothes, she had loads of clothes that she passed on to me. Some of them, unfortunately, she passed on when I was too young. She had this beautiful suit. It was a two-piece suit, so it had like a tweed skirt and a satiny kind of top, if you know what I mean by that, a suit dress, basically, and then a tweed jacket that matched the skirt. So you would you'd do up the jacket and you'd see the skirt of the jacket. It was from the late 60s, I think. It was grey and mustard. This thing was beautiful. And she tried to hand it on to me when I was like 14, and I wasn't interested. And then I went back for it when I was like 23, saying, where's that suit? And she'd got rid of it, which is such a shame. But I have a pink jumper type top thing from her, and I have I have a couple of shirts that I wear. Yeah, so I like wearing my mum's old clothes. I don't think I have any of my brother's old clothes anymore.
Mm.
But yeah, that was a simpler time. I mean, I'm not talking about the 60s. That wasn't a simpler time. I'm talking about multiple decades or centuries ago when the family would just have some clothes that they had made, and that would be the clothes for the whole family, passed on indefinitely.
Yes, and you can just make them smaller and smaller if you have to. Or bigger and bigger, I guess. I mean, do you ever do any tailoring or like get any tailoring done?
I used to do a lot of when I used to buy a lot of clothes in charity shops, I used to do quite a lot of just changing them for myself, making them bigger or smaller, taking
Yeah, yeah,
things in half.
yeah.
But I don't tend to do that anymore. Buying clothes in charity shops takes time when you've got specific needs for clothes, and I don't browse for things. I will go out going, I have to have trousers, or I have to have something, and it needs to be suitable to wear to work, or it needs to be suitable for X, Y, and Z. Once you've got a list of criteria, suddenly shopping in charity shops gets quite difficult.
Mm.
So it's a long time since I've actually changed clothes for myself in that way. I've never taken anything to a tailor to get done. Although I did buy recently, what are they called? Like shoe stretchers. I had this idea that maybe
Ooh.
I could solve my rolling shoe crisis by, because I've
Like
got quite wide feet, but rather than sort of trying on millions of pairs of shoes and they're all too narrow, maybe I'll just try stretching them in future.
like
But I haven't tried it yet.
these kind of things with no, that looks really weird.
Sort of looks like, no, it does look a bit like that.
With like a
But
gap
what you've done is
here.
I think you've combined a shoe one and a boot one. You've
Oh, I
combined the
have,
shoe one and the
yes.
boot one.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
that's
stick.
I was stretching boots at some point. That had
Yeah,
one up
but
here as well.
I don't think the boot ones don't have the
Yeah.
front bit, and the shoe ones don't have the up stick. They've got like a crank at the back.
What if you want wider boots? Like, are you just? Is that just not in?
No, you've got like a kind of L-shaped stick thing
Mm.
with the boot. Um, the boot one, I don't know. Actually, I don't have a boot one. I've got a shoe one. I probably should have got a boot one. I thought that at the time, but to be fair, I haven't stretched anything with them yet. So I just thought if I've got that, then I
Trying
won't
to
be
work
so
out.
scared to buy shoes that are marginally too narrow for me. So there's an experiment I could have spoken about,
Oh well,
but I
yes,
haven't
but
actually
you've
done it
not
yet.
done it yet. Yes, that is an
Yeah.
experiment. I very sympathise if they both are like boots and they're too thin nearly all the time. It's just I don't. That does not. That looks like a scooter. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that looks like a scooter.
It does. It does. I do apologise. I can just turn it into a boot. Hmm. Um. Yeah. No. That's that whole thing with stretching things. I'm very lucky that I don't have to that the clothes I buy don't have to look good to anyone else. Same reason that I
Well,
don't recognise a job interview, right? I just
I
I
don't think their
just
clothes
faff around.
their clothes have to look good to other people. I just think they have to.
Well, at work, you know,
Well, it
be
depends. If you have to go
appropriate.
to work, yeah. If you have to go to work, although that's so much less of an issue now, and I've never worked anywhere where you're expected to wear a really formal suit or anything like that. Everywhere I've worked has always been jeans are fine. Um, maybe not tracksuit bottoms, but yeah, but you still end up thinking I need to have sort of workwear, and I don't quite know why that is. Um,
Mm, just
where that comes from
want to do
exactly.
things right, I guess. It's
Well,
just
it's
kind
quite
of
a stiff
supposed
not
to.
having to think too much about what you're wearing in the morning. I did try to go with the uniform approach for a while, where I had like 3 outfits or 4 outfits or something, and I say these are the things I will wear to work and nothing else. And it sort of works, but even then, you end up with, well, now I need more tights that go with this, with my uniform, or you still end up kind of having to maintain it in some way. So, short of buying 4 or 5 identical things, it is quite hard to maintain. Um,
I've tried that, and then
it's
you
very
change your mind, and you've got like 4 or 5 of that thing. That's just not the thing, which is worse, isn't it? Like at what point? I guess at the point that you kind of decide, yeah, that's my uniform. I'm going to get 4 of that. It's like the new season already, and you can't actually.
Oh yeah, that's the other one. Of course, it needs to be seasonal for the temperatures. But I do wonder, like, to what extent, because you can kind of end up having a lot of faff getting dressed in the morning, and this doesn't quite look right anymore. Well, I've changed shape, so this doesn't fit right. You end up feeling a bit like, oh, this is a big fuss. Um, but
Mm.
when you think about it, people didn't do that 200 years ago. So at what point did we start to think so deeply? I'm not talking about, obviously there were always some people who were very closely connected to the way they expressed themselves through their clothes, obviously, but I'm just talking about run of the mill, day to day, get up, got to work, got to feed the kids, your day to day life. How did sort of clothes wheedle their way into that so much? And surely in the olden days, people just had what they had. So I
I
don't know.
wonder. Maybe they did. I'm trying to imagine it. I'm trying to think of my gran, who's like the one person I vaguely remember being in the olden days, from the olden days.
Yeah.
But I think it would have been even older days than that.
No, I'm talking about even older days.
Yeah, definitely even older days, because my gran was forever talking about how she made herself a canary yellow suit out of a tiny bit of fabric that looked good but was hard to do anything in, I guess. I don't know.
Hard to get into because it was so tiny.
Probably. I think the only scenes she ever described was being on the train in it and feeling fabulous and going to some important meeting, but I can't remember. But anyway, yes.
I have a dress that my mother made in the 60s. She was never one for making her own clothes, really. She could do basic sewing, and the dress is not very well made when you look at it closely, but it was a craze. I think there was a pattern that everyone was making for themselves in the 60s of this kind of like mini dress, very straight-sided mini dress, and I have the one that she made. It's quite nice. I used to enjoy wearing it, but no sleeves.
Is it
Sleeveless sheath dress thing? Yeah, like that kind of thing.
This one,
but
that's
it's so short. It's so short. It's insane. And my mother was a lot taller than me, so it's massively short on me. I don't know how short it was on her when she wore it. Yeah. I still have this item. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I guess I'm just going to pass it down to my daughter.
Yeah, it'll be cool.
Something.
I think that's. Imagine, it'll be very exciting for her. Probably.
Possibly.
Just don't do it when she's 14.
No, not when she's tiny.
You gotta get her when she's.
To be honest, it probably won't fit her after that because it's that small. But I don't. Yeah. What is going on with that drawing? You see the one next to it.
This one.
The tripping forward in high heel shoe. No, other side.
Oh,
that's
one.
A sock.
What's
happening?
It was just that's just not literal representation of feeling entirely overwhelmed by wearing. Not by wearing, by trying on things in the shop, and just it's all wrong.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was listening. And got carried away with was just trying to draw, being very unhappy about completely ill-fitted items. I was just thinking about a big furry hat with ear flaps, which for some reason is.
It's your idea of hell clothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I just like one that's like bigger than me for some reason. Don't know where that came from. And a cardboard box and a tube and huge shoes.
Yeah.
Let's make them red. I think we filled this.
Lovely.
I think we filled this.
We
did. We did.
I like the red shoes.
Oh, good. Something's good. Is this in some way representative of some truth?
I certainly do have days. Yeah, I have days like that, and I have to say I can see the theme of my jumper crisis really coming through here.
Oh, good. There's a jumper, you see. Good. That's good.
Yeah. Never-ending saga, captured forever.
Well,
a sheet of paper there.
Thank you very much. I feel better than I did when I started this. I was feeling quite vague, and yet now I'm thinking about clothes. It's an improvement. Thank you.
Super focused. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think that's it.
Well, brilliant.
Yes.
You have a lovely day today.
Yes, you too. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, Viv.
Yay.